TSUKIHINA, Vampire AU. We're vampires. Why do we have rules? Daichi was instantly in front of me. Vampires move swiftly too much. He wasn't even inside the house when I said that to Sugawara, but was right in front of me even before I finished. Never talk to Kushi with such disrespect. His entire body looked tense. His fangs showed. His eyes were gold. I've been having lessons with Sugawara ever since I became a vampire. That was just a week ago actually. Eye color to me is now basic knowledge. When the gold means the vampire is very high-key angry. Sugawara Kushi is Daichi Sawamura's partner. They've been together for a little over a century. Vampires are very protective of their partners, I heard. A second after Daichi did this, Sugawara was right behind him and his hand was immediately on Daichi's shoulder. He's adjusting? Sawamura. I was facing Daichi then, but decided to look away. I'm new to this vampire culture, but I'm trying to learn. It's just that I get too anxious sometimes. Besides, my bloodthirst has been getting stronger every day. Sugawara's been teaching me how to deny the thirst and what to do when it's really time to quench it. Daichi relaxed. His eyes slowly turned back to his usual russet brown. You're coming with me tonight. Wear something comfortable. I looked at Sugawara, who gave me a nod with a subtle smirk. Go and get ready. You'll be having your first hunt tonight. I entered the forest with Daichi. The last time I was here felt like a long time ago. But, in reality, that was actually just over a week ago. My last day as a human, the day I became a vampire. My right hand voluntarily moved to my neck as I gulped. My senses sharpened ever since my rebirth. Being here in the forest is making my thirst even worse. Try to relax before we go any further, Kay. I can't afford you jumping on every animal we cross paths with. I closed my eyes. This usually relaxes me, something Sugawara recommended. But as soon as I closed them, I visualized a person by a waterfall. I could even smell him. Smells like tangerine. I opened my eyes, my head instantly facing the origin of the scent. Something wrong. Do you smell that? Smell what? Do you smell the wolves? Are those wolves? That tangerine smell. Tangerine. He ruffled my hair, just like a father would ruffle his son's hair during a sports lesson. We probably need to work on your sense of smell too. But I can smell the wolves from the same direction you faced. Try to follow the scent. It's actually somewhat spicy. Spicy? How the hell do you smell something spicy? Fine, I'll lead. When we get to the wolf, sniff it so you'd have an idea of the scent. Fine. Daichi started running. I could hardly see where he headed to. I tried to follow, but the longing for that tangerine scent was taking over me. I didn't care where I was going. I had to get to that scent. My bloodthirst was worsening by the second. The pace I was in, my feet didn't feel like they were even touching the ground. I could feel my skin getting cuts from the tree branches I was passing through. But they were healing in a matter of seconds. This is amazing. I laughed as I continued running. I tried sniffing harder. The scent keeps getting stronger as I ran forward. Daichi's going to kill me when he gets hold of me. No wait, I'm already immortal. I laughed internally. I could hear water splashing from a distance. Must be the falls in the middle of the forest. The tangerine scent is coming from the falls. As I came near the falls, I slowed down. The scent is so overwhelming in this part of the forest. My hearing sense also got activated at this point. I heard clicking. One after another, I decided to hide behind a huge rock by the edge of the falls. A mortal, there was this mortal by the falls. Holding some kind of camera, he kept taking photos of the water and of the moon that was visible from below due to the absence of trees around the body of water. Just as I was about to show myself to the human who looked too busy taking photos of the forest, I sensed a hand about to touch my shoulder. My hand quickly responded by grasping it. Shush! He had a finger cover his lips, instructing me to keep quiet. We both hid behind the big rock and stared at the mortal. You smell him? I nodded. Like tangerine. The mortal was facing the falls. I wonder what he looks like. He must love taking photos at night. But in the forest? Really? He isn't scared. We have to go. We need to get back to Sawamura before he finds out about this. I'll just tell him I caught up to you and we had fun running around. You know how strict he is. Can I come see him again? My eyes were still fixed on the mortal. Your sense of smell will always draw you to him if he really is your mate. Hearing this made me loose my gaze on the mortal's figure and shift to Sugawara. Mate? I'm not sure. But I'm guessing he is your mate. But being new to the culture may also result to this. We'll have to make sure. Mate, as in partner. Like you and Daichi. Shuga hummed. But you're new to the culture, and he's immortal. So I really can't say for certain. Will you teach me about how that works? Finding partners, mates, some other time, Kay. I looked at him, expectingly. Yes, I will, I promise. Now, let's get back to Sawamura. I don't want him all goldie eyes when we get back home. I smiled very lightly, knowing this was already part of Sugar's joke. I looked back to the mortal for the last time, hoping to see his face before I go. A bird flew past by where we were standing. The mortal seemed to have flinched and his head was about to look our way. But Sugar was so on point on grabbing my wrist and pulling me into a run. Not tonight, Kay. I ran behind Sugar, thinking of the mortal. Have I really found my partner this early after rebirth as a vampire? Can a vampire have a mortal as a mate? Promise me you'll tell me everything about having a mate. I promise to tell you everything that I know. We ran swiftly in the forest to get to where Daichi was. We told him the alibi about Sugar and me running around the forest. At first, Daichi looked unsatisfied with the alibi, but accepted it when Sugar smiled at him and lightly tapped his shoulder. Daichi was watching out for that black wolf from a distance. He asked me to sniff the scent. It wasn't the tangerine smell I smelt with the mortal. I finally understood what Daichi meant with a wolf having a spicy scent. Daichi ran toward the wolf and plunged his fangs onto its neck. A couple of seconds after, the wolf was motionless. He called me to get by his side, and there I was in an instant. My thirst was calling to me too. My eyes were probably black by now, with the thirst so overwhelming. Daichi gave me instructions before I sank my fangs onto the wolf's neck. This was what Sugar meant with quenching the thirst. I was getting really into it when I felt a tag on my shoulder. That's enough. We don't want to kill the wolf. In vampire culture that Sugar taught me, vampires don't kill their prey. They just drink some of their blood to quench their thirst, but lets them live like nothing happened. It's like when you would donate blood to blood banks in the mortal world. You give out blood, but you don't die from doing it. I opened my eyes. They were probably back to the usual russet brown color. I felt my body less tensed as I moved away from the wolf's body. It stayed motionless, but I could see its chest rising up and down, meaning it was alive and breathing. Good, that's your lesson from me for the day. Let's head back home. I need to water my plants. I heard a chuckle from Sugar. What? You might be the only vampire I know who loves plants. Well, I'm the only vampire you should be thinking about. Well, we have Kay here now as well. Yes, but he's sort of our son. So I'm okay with that. They were holding hands while walking back to the house's direction as they were saying that. I was following them from behind. Tell me how you got together. They both turned to face me, shocked by the inquiry. Sugar laughed. Yes, Kay, we'll include that in our lessons. They looked back at each other before heading back to the house. I want to know how this mate thing is supposed to work.